And welcome back to the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by the Topoco Lodge. If you want to book your stay in a room, suite, or cabin, now is the time. They are open completely for lodging right now. And if you want to dine at the Topoco Tavern, they are now open up there again. Seating inside or outside by the rushing Chiowa River, 50% seating, so call ahead, make sure you got an appointment, or you have a, reservation. But do me a favor, check out Topoco.com or check them out on Facebook this week. The Topoco Lodge and the Topoco Tavern open for business. Okay. Here's what I was getting at in that last segment. I find this interesting. The website 538.com posted a football story this week. They're typically numbers and politics, but posted a football story this week that I found kind of insightful. In their view, due to COVID, we may never know who the real top high school football players in the country are this year. Here's what they're getting at. Let me put up a chart here for you. They laid out a list of 15 players from across the country who jumped more than 100 spots in recruiting rankings from July of 2019 to signing day of 2020. 2 UT signees were on that list. I went back and I looked at February to February. So from February 2019 to February 2020, Jalen Hyatt went from the 619th best player in the country to 196. Jimmy Callaway went from 691 to 208. Georgia Tech signed a running back, Jamar Gibbs, who went from the 1,010th rated player in the country to number 75 in 1 year. But without the benefit this year of the camps, probably not going to have the camps, you could have some shortened high school seasons across the country. Who knows which ones are going to be playing full season. You may not have players getting that kind of jump this year because people aren't able to see as much. They don't get as much chance to show what they can do. That sounds like a bad thing. And like it would be for someone like Butch Jones, who recruited by the star rankings. This guy's go for him. But for a guy like Jeremy Pruitt, and the proof's in the pudding, it's still early yet. I'm not all in on this one, but if the sales job that he's the greatest talent evaluator in the world is true, this could actually be an advantage for Pruitt in Tennessee over other schools that aren't as good at evaluation. Would you agree or disagree?
Yeah, I think it is. And it's interesting with that jump. I've heard some of the recruiting analysts, the national guys even suggest that, hey, we're being more conservative when we're talking about our rankings and moving guys and things like that. So that's to your point that, hey, we're not going to see the big movements because of that. And then because Jeremy Pruitt, we've seen him be able to move guys. Like remember Alontae Taylor? He just moved him from offense to defense and said, I could tell by the way you move and doing these drills and whether you have the ability to execute here. He's a really good talent evaluator, and I think with that more of a limited space there, an ability to look at guys, I think he would be able to find some guys and identify things more so than maybe some others. Even though he was big on the camps, they did offer a lot of guys based on those camps.
Sure, I mean, everybody would want to have more tape and more hand-to-hand, more hand right in front of you, face-to-face type evaluation, obviously. But if it goes away for everybody, I'd rather have the guy who's got a better eye than the guy who has a bad eye.
Right.
I think that could be an advantage. David, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think you look at how many hits they had in the 2020 class, or the 2019 class rather, and those guys that were huge contributors and looked like really special players. Eric Gray, Henry Toto. I think the biggest indictment of a coach's talent evaluation / development is if you have a bunch of highly recruited guys that don't pan out. Mm-hmm. That really is an indictment on a coaching staff. And so far through Tennessee, you've only had really one class of full guys that have had a chance, and man, pretty much all of their top guys had great years. You know, a couple guys have some things to prove, but it does bode well in the limited sample size that we've seen so far from Tennessee.
Okay. Just thought that was an interesting nugget, that you might not see the recruiting rankings jump for some players that you normally get. And if you've got a limited amount of time to eyeball these guys, could a guy with a good eye have an advantage? Maybe. When we come back, people across the country, some of them, kind of going nuts right now with the whole COVID thing. They're punching each other out when being asked to wear masks. They're knocking park rangers into the lake if they're being told to stand 6 feet back. What is that? How does that shape up for the fan base this fall? Tennessee's expectations. Could this be a repeat of you take a step forward and everybody's mad, kind of like 2015? Come on back, we'll discuss.